Well, welcome back to Through the Eyes of Survivors. Tonight, we're leaning into one of the most tender yet complicated and misunderstood parts of someone's healing journey: forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the hardest topics we face as survivors. It's definitely complicated and layered. It's often mishandled by people who have never lived through trauma. People love to say things like, just forgive and move on, without understanding the depth of the pain that survivors carry, the betrayal, the trauma, the grief, the shattered trust. Forgiveness is definitely not instant, and it's not easy, and it's absolutely not required in order for you to heal. But for many of us survivors, forgiveness becomes a conversation we eventually have to face. Not forgiveness for the abuser, but forgiveness for ourselves. Forgiveness for the girl we used to be, for staying, for loving the wrong person, for not knowing what we didn't know back then. For pieces of us that were broken in ways we did not deserve. Tonight, we're going to have a real honest and compassionate conversation about forgiveness, what it looks like for survivors, and what it does not look like. And I can't think of anyone better to explore this with than our BTSADV secretary of our board of directors. She is a leader in our organization and the heart behind our Advent series on forgiveness over on Facebook, Lauryn Hill. And I thank Lauryn for joining me tonight on Through the Eyes of Survivors.
Important notice: the following content may be triggering. Viewer discretion is advised. All discussions are based on personal opinions and experiences. If you or someone you know needs help, please reach out to a local support organization. Important notice: the following content may be triggering. Viewer discretion is advised. All discussions are based on personal.
There we go, and we're back. Before we get into this topic with Lauryn real quick, I have to plug our affiliates. I'd like to talk about Opus Clips. Opus Clips is an AI-driven platform that turns long-form content like the podcast today into short, powerful clips for like TikTok or Facebook or YouTube. Yeah, we use it every week here on Through the Eyes of Survivors. So with Break the Silence. And if you're a creator, Opus Clip can make that content for you effortlessly and repurpose it flawlessly. So use our link and help us out there. Also, the Self Defense Keychain Store, their tools are designed to help women feel safer and more confident in their everyday lives. They are discreet, practical, survivor focused self defense tools. So we appreciate every partner who supports us. Go over there, use the link below, and type in the code Break the Silence 10 for your 10% off. So, for those of you again who don't know our Lauryn Hill, she is our secretary on the board of directors. She is someone who's walked her own journey in forgiveness. You know, she's done it personally, spiritually, and as a survivor. She's been leading this beautiful Advent series over on our Facebook page. There's an event page for it. Think about joining that on forgiveness and helping the community explore the emotional and biblical and healing layers of this work. So thank you, Lauryn, for coming on the show today.
Well, thank you for having me. As I was saying, it's been a minute since I've been on here, but thank you for bringing me and having this discussion.
I think it's an important one to have. So, what I'd love to do is have you talk just a little bit about like your survivor journey. That way, people can understand just a little bit of what led you into this path to start with.
Well, it actually it'll be 8 years, 8 years of survivorship, December 9th. And my journey started when I was in college, and I met this particular individual. This person was charismatic. My abuser was he was charismatic. He was very convincing, as if he knew you in a way, like it's as if he knew you. And at the time, I was in another relationship, and that person was in another relationship too. And eventually, we broke up with our people, and we got together. And so it was a but at the same token, it kind of felt rushed because we dated for only 7 months, and then got engaged and was engaged for 9.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I graduated from college, and but in that, I would say within that spring leading up to graduating from college, that's when I start seeing the signs, or if I saw the signs, I ignored them.
Yeah.
If that's the best way possible, because I was young, and eventually we got married, and those signs became a big billboard, very big billboard. And it was more, and guess what, the writing was more on the wall. It was in bright red letters. And so I was abused in more than one way. It was physical, it was mental, it was psychological, it was spiritual, because this person was definitely affluent in the church, very well known. And so everything I believe this person, it was going coming from the Bible.
Right.
And spiritual abuse is just as bad as the rest of them, because even though I had a lot of broken places myself that I was handling, and this just add insult to injury. And so I was still questioning my relationship with God at the time. And I was young. Well, eventually it got worse and worse and worse. And I said, "That's it. This is the end. I'm done." And I broke free Easter Sunday. And it the reason why this is so many biblical contexts is for me, because it's like this. I leave on Easter Sunday.
Right.
I, I was done. and and so it was that first year for me of healing, was where I had to learn to forgive, because I had a lot of hate in my heart. Like I wanted to hurt just as much as he did me. He did a lot of damage that, like, it was, I had to fight for my own name to tell them this is not the person y'all used to see. Y'all hearing one side of the story, but you're not hearing the other side. And then there was the victim blaming, there was the body shaming, it was the gaslighting, it was sorts of damage that I had to, it's like this, I had to control.
Hmm.
And it wasn't my damage that I caused. That was the interesting part. So when I finally divorced this person, I never, it's like this, I still wasn't free yet. That was the part that got me. I still wasn't free yet. As
Yes.
if this person was still living, like the words still was living in my head. Like like certain thing. Like if I heard a certain song, it almost triggered me sometimes. Or if I heard a certain ringtone of a
Mhm.
phone, it triggered me so bad because I'm thinking this person is behind me. But I had not let go because I was still hurt. And I had a lot of other broken places that I had not healed yet. So even though I had in that 1 year of healing, I thought, oh, I'm good.
Mhm.
No,
We fool ourselves, don't we?
yeah. And the one thing I had to really just learn was forgiveness. And that forgiveness is not an emotion. Let me make this very clear. Forgiveness is definitely not an emotion because emotions come and go.
Right.
That's bottom line. But emotions is a discipline we practice. We have to practice this all the time. And that was my thing. Cause I'm thinking I can forgive somebody for probably somebody who was being jealous. I can forget like that. I was easily can forgive. But
Mhm.
then until I had to forgive that person that hurt me the most,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I want to. I wasn't sure. But I had to let go and forgive because I was continuously letting that person live in my mind rent free.
Mhm.
And I had to let go of everything. Was it hard? And yes, I was mad, I was angry. I had so much hate in my heart, but then God had to tell me, "Do you want to end up like him then?"
Mhm.
And I was like, I can't." And I had to have patience with myself to forgive. And it wasn't forgiving him because of him. I had to forgive him for me because that would have been a load. That is a load that was taken off of my shoulders that I didn't have to worry about anymore.
Mhm.
And that you are no longer bound to me. That I'm I'm not attached that you're not attached to my well-being anymore.
Right.
And so that's why is forgiveness is a hard pill to swallow, and that's where patience come in. They're both hard pills to swallow because
Mhm.
you really have to learn. Like they always say, you got to forgive and let it go. It's hard for somebody like us to let something go when you've been hurt so bad.
Right. 'Cause the damage just is there for such a long time, and you don't even realize sometimes until something triggers it, like you were saying, and it gets brought back up again, and then you've gotta deal with a new layer of it. So, it's very hard, but I love the conversations when we have talked about the difference between, like, forgiveness and reconciliation. So, like, Lauren, tell people, like, I know you have certain things you love to say about that.
Oh, yes, I do. Because I, of course, I listen. There's a pastor, Pastor Howard John Wesley, and he visited a church here in Houston, and he said something that was so profound. It changed my whole life. That I was like, you know what? That was my confirmation. That was my stamp of approval. And
Mhm,
he said these words. He said, "Forgiveness is mandatory,
mhm.
but reconciliation is optional." I was like, hmm. So you mean to tell me I'm not going against God if I don't reconcile with this person?
No.
And so I was like, I felt better because it's
Mhm.
like this. I forgive you. I release you. It's like this. I have no ill will against you. I don't wish nothing bad upon you, but you are no longer in this life anymore.
Mhm.
You're not entering no more chapters of this story. Why? Because I don't trust you enough to even put you in a verse or a line
Mhm.
in this story. Because this is a different, because sometimes abusers, they used to the old you.
Yes.
They used to the old you. I'm not that type of person anymore because yes, I was in my 20s. I was green. I was naive. I thought I knew it all. I thought I had it all. But this Lauren here is different.
Mhm.
This Lauren is different. And I'm cautious of who I let in my circle because I have to have enough trust that I can trust you with not just my life, my heart, my well-being, my mind, my thoughts, my opinions, and be respectful for that and respect my boundaries because there's a part because even when we are forgiving, we give boundaries with forgiveness too. It's
Yeah.
like this, I forgive you. Just don't but there's a line that's drawn here.
Mhm.
And I don't have to reconcile all the time. I don't have to.
Mm-mm.
I can pray and ask God to help me to forgive and ask God to help me to have the heart to forgive. That I can. But God can tell me you don't need to reconcile with this person.
Mhm.
That person don't belong in your life because that type of spirit will mess you up. And it's like this. If you establish a peace already, oh no, you ain't gonna have that kind of toxicity in your space. No, because when you have forgiven, you get a peace, you get a calm, and you don't have to be reattached anymore.
Yeah.
That reattachment, you know how stressful that is? Because now you got to accommodate your peace for this person's comfort? Absolutely not.
Mm.
Mm-mm. So that's what I had to learn that reconciliation is optional. I don't, it's like this I can forgive you and I can let you and it go and not be associated with you at all. And guess what? I'm not and the best thing I could do if I find something bad has happened to this person, I pray for them and that's it. That's it. I can pray for them. Maybe I could be cordial and that's a big maybe. That's a big maybe. But I do not have to associate myself with you.
Right.
I don't have.
Absolutely not. And I think about and of course if anybody has any questions or comments, please put them in here. Lauren would love to take any of your questions on this topic. But I know when we have our sister survivor retreats, so many of our sisters, that is like one of their biggest questions is how do I forgive? And they wrap it up in the forgiving of him. But on some levels, it's okay. We have to tell them it's okay that you can't forgive him right now. Start with forgiveness for yourself and
Yes.
start there. So, what does that look like, Lauren?
It looks like it's as if your mind, think of your mind as like an apartment or like a house.
Mhm.
And anytime you have a house or anything, you any apartment, anything like that, there's rent, mortgage, something like that of that kind of sort, right? Ye- I agree with you. You are not going to forgive somebody right away. It is not no overnight process. There is let me make this disclaimer. There is no such thing as an overnight forgiveness. There is no such thing. There is
No,
no such thing
not
because
when we've been through what we've been through.
no, because we can't forgive that quick. Not
Uh-uh,
yet.
uh-uh.
It's just, especially if we still trying to heal and we just if we can't forget that fast. we can't we I was one of those people I did not forgive that fast. It's like this. I learned a little bit about forgiveness, but didn't see the whole picture.
Mhm.
Didn't see the whole picture. And the thing was, I was having this person, my abuser, live in my head rent free. I was fearful. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. And even then, I thought I was a disgrace to to the people of God because I thought I was going against my marriage because I was leaving. Because even I had called, no kidding, it wasn't this hotline, y'all. Y'all called the BTS hotline, just disclaimer. But I called a different hotline. I remember this because I was trying to figure out why. And the person said that I was going against God for leaving my abusive marriage.
Yes,
And
I
I was
was
like,
told that
wait a
too.
minute.
Mm-mm.
I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, so you want me to take a beating? You want me to stay there? Th- Some it didn't sound godly to me.
No,
It
no,
didn't
it's
sit
not.
right in my spirit.
No.
It just didn't. And I wasn't, of course, I wasn't mature like I am now in my relationship with God. I wasn't there yet. And I'm still a work in progress. But at that time, I wasn't really fully understanding. But for some reason, that didn't settle right in my spirit.
Yeah.
And so, but still, that man was like literally just had a couch, lamp, coffee table, and everything else in my head,
Mm-hmm.
living. And my thing was, how would I? And I couldn't live like that. I was living fearful going to work, fearing this person gonna follow me, or fearing that I'm not going to move on without this person. I couldn't quite understand. I'm like, but again, I wasn't there yet.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I
you're
wasn't
bouncing from
mature.
one contradiction to the other. You're so polar on
Mhm.
thinking on that. There's no happy medium at all.
No, it wasn't any. And then when I see a glimpse of like happiness or joy or contentment, bam, it's like it. I get a flashback or something like that. It's like, oh, I gotta do something different. But again, I wasn't mature enough to understand. I had a lot of broken pieces in
Mm-hmm.
my own life before, and all it did was put gaslighting. It just lit up even more. But I had to mute that voice myself
Right.
and give that aspect of my life an eviction notice saying you can't live here. And then eventually I said, why am I living this way?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I thinking there's still a glimpse of hope, that there's going to be change? I'm constantly changing myself, but will this person, or do I have to change myself? And then eventually there was a lot of other layers that was popping off. And eventually I said, you know what? I don't have to live in fear anymore with this. I'm not. I'm not. I had been through enough tough situations with this. And then the other part was I was so angry that even when he wasn't around, I was just cussing. I was saying a whole lot of profanity. I was yelling. I was in a very, very dark place because I
Mm-hmm.
was just that angry.
Mm-hmm.
But then I said, why am I so angry? Now, what's interesting, I wasn't angry at anybody. I didn't lash out at anybody else because I was
Right.
very cautious. I didn't want other people to feel the hurt that I had. I was very cautious of that. But I was just angry,
Mm-hmm.
just angry, mad. I was furious because it's like, how are you living like this has never happened? Like you living like this is you ain't done nothing wrong. And it's like, but I was still having that hurt that I never let it go.
Right.
And then that's when I realized, I said, this, I gotta let this go. And then when my health got the best of me, that was it.
Right. Because when you hold that all in and you're
Huh.
still living in that place and you're holding it all in, your body will absolutely show it. It will absolutely, you might be putting on a good facade, but your body definitely, the stress and fatigue and everything will come out in your health for sure.
Yeah, because it was, even at, I wasn't even 30 yet when all this was happening. I wasn't even 30. I was still in my 20s. And my health got the best of me. And I said, this is not a good sign
Mhm.
for me. For me. Because I wanted to live longer. And I did not like the fact that I wasn't living to the fullest. I was just existing.
Right.
And I was holding on to this anger, because it's like this, I wanted to feel, I wanted that person to feel everything I felt for every time that I was hurt. But it wasn't worth it. And then that's when God had to sit me down and said, is it really worth it?
Right.
Is it worth it? Is it worth you being angry all the time? When you get home, you're not sleeping at night, or
Mhm.
you tearing down your own self, and then feeling guilt at the same time, or even just as far as breaking the rules of what this person may have given you. It's I I finally said, Lord, how can I forgive this person, even when I am so mad and so angry,
Mhm.
like I hate them.
Mhm.
And then God say, I get you. Because oftentimes I was always, growing up, I was always told you can't question God.
Right.
But and then until God had to say, you can ask me a question. I was like, well,
Oh,
well,
yeah, yeah.
it was interesting because again, growing up, we were
Yeah.
told you don't question God, you don't ask
I
God
I
questions.
grew up that way too, and that you don't demand and you don't let me tell you, I broke all of those rules when my daughter died. I questioned him, and I want
Yeah,
and boy, let me tell you, he started answering me, and that
right.
unique experience, because then I was like, "Wait, whoa, what?" He never answered me before. Yeah,
Yeah, because it
and
it's unusual because it felt unfamiliar to us because again, we can't question them, but it's like, then what can I say?
yeah.
Where can I go? What can I say? I can't talk to humans. So who can what's
Well,
going on with me?
yeah, and for me, the hardest part of forgiveness too was I had children linked with this man. So when you have children linked to it and you're still having to deal with that person on some level in trying to raise children, it makes it extremely hard to find forgiveness because you're still constantly being inundated with all those little things that irritated you the most, or they're still manipulating you, they're still gaslighting
Mhm.
you, you're still in the middle of it, and it makes it very extremely hard to say, how do I forgive something when he's still doing it, or she's still doing it?
It's like this is so unfair that they living carefree and I'm over here struggling.
Mhm,
That was my question.
mhm,
The one thing I got clear from, me and my abuser did not have any kids together. That was the one thing we did not have. But it was just, it was the fact is, it's like, how are you so happy? And I'm over here struggling and trying my best not to think of ways to tear you down, but you want to continue tearing me down.
right,
And the interesting part is, we ain't bothering them.
yes. Well, and so you like you were saying, forgiveness is not something that you just do overnight. It is
Nope.
definitely a journey. I know for
Hmm.
me, I had to definitely once I got to a place where I wasn't having to struggle in the daily, I wasn't having to think about him in the daily, then I was able to really concentrate on why am I still so angry? Because like
Hmm.
talking about the anger, why am I still so angry? The kids are grown, he's not around there, this is not why am I so angry? And then when you tear that apart, it's because I was angry with myself. I was angry with
Yeah.
myself for
Yeah.
staying. I was angry for being with him, for being so naive and stupid
Hmm.
in some ways to think that I was going to fix this and prove everybody wrong. And he had some kind of potential, and I was going to be the one to love him through that. And I missed all these red flags of what I was really getting into. And for some reason, I felt like I should have known better.
That was me.
And
That was me.
yeah, and I had to learn how to forgive me first, even before I can even
That
start
and
moving
that's a
towards
pill.
forgiving him.
That's
Mhm.
a pill of reality that we have to swallow is forgiving ourselves. And we don't do that often because we're quick to blame somebody else and forgive them. We're quick to doing that. But when you have to sit in your own mess that is caused, and it's not as a bad thing, but as if, what was I thinking?
Mhm.
That's the mindset we're getting. Is like, what in the world was I going through? And I actually had to really get down and dirty and figure out what is it that I just couldn't let go of myself, that I
Mhm.
had to live. It was as if whatever issues I had eternally that I had not healed from, that's why I couldn't forgive myself for.
Right.
It's as if I wasn't ready to see these. It was like different mirrors of myself
Right.
that I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to face them. I didn't want to try to even talk. And guess what? They were all they were like, it was like different pieces of me just sitting at my dining room table, just looking at me. And it was as if, okay, we're just gonna be sitting here. And it's interesting. God had to make me face them. I want to? Nope. But I had to face them. I had to face the broken pieces of me that I need to heal from. Because even today, I'm 35 years old. I had to learn to heal that 24, 25-year old.
Yes.
Now, mind you, I was book smart.
Mhm.
And I had. I was book smart. And I had some idea of how life was, but what it did, I had to mature and learn it's not worth holding on to. It's
Mm.
not worth carrying a burden that you still try you can't prosper until you let go.
Right.
That's what I had to learn. I'm not going to be able to prosper. I'm not going to be able to continue life. If I said I'm going to have someone in my life, I cannot continue life if I'm still holding on to this one.
Yeah.
You got to hold on, you got to let go of the old life before you go into the new life. And that was something I was I was in that, what we call that limbo stage. I was in
Yes.
that limbo stage, and that's why I say forgiveness was so is it's it's challenging. It is
Mhm.
almost intimidating. Almost. And the reason why I say that, cuz it's like this, I don't want to face this today.
Mhm.
I don't want to deal with this today. And guess what's still going to be in your face.
Yeah. You're
And it's
still
hard.
carrying that weight. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
still carrying it. And so you're wondering to and forgiveness is going to it's when I say forgiveness is going to be there, it forgiveness is not going nowhere. It don't have no expiration date. No, You have to forgive, and not for them, but for yourself, because guess what? You have to forgive the person that put that set yourself up, and you sabotage your own self. And then even then, you probably believing that you thinking to yourself, I don't belong to this. I
Mhm.
don't belong in these types of places. But forgive yourself means letting it go. That
Right.
is not you anymore.
Exactly.
You're not the old person you used to be, because the old you was still naive. The
Mhm.
old you was still green. The old you was still trying to figure it all out. This one right here is saying, wait a minute, this is not settling in my space,
Right.
in my mind. And that is why when I say I was in limbo, because I was teeter-tottering. I was teeter-tottering. I was still going, it's like this. I was still holding on to the old life, saying that because I'm looking at paid stuff on social media thinking he's changed, but he hasn't.
Right.
And that's I said this, and then eventually I said, I'm done. I'm
Mhm.
good. And I said, Lord, just help me. That's all I said. Because sometimes forgiveness, when I say it's a discipline, there comes a part called accountability you don't want to mess with. It's just called an accountability. My goodness, that doesn't you have to swallow.
Mhm.
And the thing about it is, nobody wants to take accountability. That's what I had to learn.
Right.
I have to take accountability for what I did wrong. Not for what the abuser did, but what did I enable? What did I take in? What did I ignore? What is it that I said, oh, it's going to get better? That's what I kept saying to myself. And I said, no. And eventually I'm like, no, this is not it. That's what I mean by it. When they live in your brain rent free
Mhm.
and you haven't let that thing go, they just sitting in on the couch of your brain and just
Out.
and guess what? You gotta send that eviction notice to
Mm.
that person in your mind. They don't have to be physically around you, but their spirit for some reason is always in the
Yes.
back of your brain.
Yes. Well, we got a question from Mary. So what we're gonna do is we need to take our mid-roll break real quick just to show you a quick video about our Holidays of Hope program coming up. And when we come back, Lauren, let's answer Mary's question. Do you fully get past the abuse? That's a great question. And we will be right back.
This Christmas, some children are facing their first holiday without a parent. Lost to domestic violence, these little ones are learning what it means when a chair stays empty, when stockings hang unfilled, when the magic of Christmas feels impossibly far away. But you can change that. Through BTS ADV's Holidays of Hope program, your donation becomes more than a gift. It becomes proof that they are still loved, still remembered, still worthy of joy. A teddy bear reminds them of comfort. Art supplies spark creativity that trauma tried to steal. A simple toy whispers what they need to hear most: you matter. These children have lost so much, but they don't have to lose Christmas too. Donate today. Sponsor a child's holiday. Give them the gift of knowing that even in their darkest moment, a community of caring hearts surrounds them. Visit breakthesilencedv.org, because every child deserves to believe in hope again.
Well, We are back, and I just want to say our Holidays of Hope program is one of the very special programs we have here every year, providing gifts and essential things to these children and their families who are impacted by domestic violence and our Christmas program. So please, if you wish to support our mission, donate. We still have about 20 more kids, I believe, that we need funds for to help provide Christmas for them. So whatever you can give would be very much appreciated. We order off of their lists from Amazon and send it to them. So there will be links in the description in the comments if you would like to help us. So we appreciate that. And Lauren, okay, we're back and we're going to answer Mary's question now. Do you fully get past the abuse?
Eventually you will. Eventually you will. And I see she said I have 2 kids with my abuser, and that I think this is like a both of us questions are.
Mhm. Well, I
Let
would
me say
say I would say it in this phrase. I've never gotten fully past it, but now my life doesn't center with every thought around it. I am fully high functioning, like, about I would say about 95% of the time, but there are times where even now we have been divorced almost, like, 24 years, I wanna say. He will do something or bring up something that'll trigger me back to a 50%, and I gotta work my way back up. And each time I have to work my way back up, it's a little easier. But I would say I personally have not been able to fully get past it, but I am past it enough that it doesn't affect me daily anymore. He's more of an afterthought the majority of the time. That's a little different with the one who took my daughter's life. That one's a little more, he's a little more in the forefront of my head. But it's a different thing. It's a different kind of abuse and what you go through. So I have to treat them separately. But it's hard because I still struggle with. Um, I was thinking this the other day because it was her birthday 2 days ago. Um, you know, how much culpability does he have in all of this? Because if
mm,
he have abused me and even abused her in some ways, verbally and everything that he did, and the one time physically he put his hands on her, would she have not picked somebody like him? And so that's very difficult. It's a difficult thing to deal with sometimes. So it does put him in my thoughts more than I would like him to be. Uh, but it doesn't control me. It doesn't control my life. Um, but I don't know that I'll ever fully get over it. It's shaped me in some ways that I don't know that I would want to give up those parts of myself because it made me grow.
yeah,
Not that
yeah,
I want to go through it.
right.
Yeah.
I would say I would say for me, I'm with Tara on this one. Eventually I will get like I'll get past it, but there's parts of me that it's like this now. It doesn't control my life anymore. It doesn't petrify me anymore. It does not it does not put me in a state where I'm back as that 20-something-year-old.
Mhm.
That's what I can tell you because I it took me a long time to say if he would have done something, he'd done it a long time ago. But that's where I was. But I had to learn to live
Mhm.
and live freely Like, it's freedom.
Mhm.
And when I say it's a liberating freedom. That I can tell you. It's a liberating freedom because as angry as I wasn't free yet.
Right.
I wasn't it's like this it was like it's as if I was telling myself I wasn't ready yet.
Mhm.
But I knew I wasn't living fully because I was still attached to that.
Mhm.
And that bothered me.
Right.
And I wasn't it's like this, I'm not full to my own family. I'm not being like I was there, but I wasn't present for my own family, for my own friends. I wasn't there because I was holding myself back
Mhm.
from being free. And that's when I woke up and said, I want to be free from this.
Right.
It is like this, that past, that's something you can't, that's a part of you. That's nothing you can't, that's nothing you can erase. That's a part of you, but it don't define your future
Mhm.
from here on out. It
Well,
doesn't define your present.
Mary was saying she'd been married 15 years and still has some triggers. I've been remarried 20 years now and I still have some triggers. And one of the things I've had to really, really focus on for quite some time that really made an impact for me was to realize that even if it was my current spouse, he has triggered me sometimes in some ways and he hasn't done it intentionally. But I've had to really, really put in my head, me, myself, that what I'm feeling in those moments, whether it's fear or anger or whatever, I know it's coming out at him, but it's not him that I'm feeling that about. And when I sit down and talk with him about that, he's been really phenomenal about making that very safe and understanding that he knows that certain things don't do those certain things because then it's going to take me back into that state and he doesn't want me there for sure. That's the last thing he wants. But just having that knowledge, but also for me to take a step back and go, I can't put this on him. What in myself do I need to work on so that, like Lauren said, so my ex is not living in that rent-free space anymore there, because evidently he was somewhere that I wasn't aware of. He was hiding in a closet somewhere and he popped out again. And no, 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 we're not putting him back in the closet. You gotta go. And when that happens, it's like, no. But it's a day by day thing. Yeah,
And say for me as I'm I've been single. I've been divorced and single for like I said, about to be 8 years. And I said, and there's some triggers, and of course I've dated a couple times in these 8 years. Trust me, I have. But one thing I've also learned is that I'm very cautious. I'm very cautious who I let in my circle. If you know what I'm saying, I'm very hyper aware now and almost not I'm not really hypersensitive, but it's like I'm Inspector Gadget in some way. Cuz I'm very cautious of who I let into not just in my space, but in my vulnerability, letting them in my well-being,
mhm,
letting them know my whereabouts because I'm I'm independent for a reason. I'm independent because I've learned to survive. And that was one thing about us, forgiveness, you're gonna learn how to survive while forgiving.
mhm.
And those two entities, it's like this: forgiveness, patience, accountability, and surviving for the fittest. Man, you gonna find out real quick. You
Yeah,
gonna find out this is not no walk in the park. This is not a walk in the park. This is a journey, a
yeah.
healing journey.
Well,
And that's why with us, I'm I know that when I have my triggers, when something's not sounding right, if I'm talking to somebody and something the math is not mathing, I will eggs you out very quickly. Because
Right.
it's like this. This is reminiscent to the old life. No, 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 no. I I'm not about that life no more. I'm not. I look. I have more patience for myself now.
Yeah.
I have more patience for myself now. And guess what? But I'm also very aware when I know I'm about to go and my anxiety is going up, and I know that my anger is about to tip off, and I know how my attitude gets, and the words I say is almost like a knife and it cuts very deep.
Mhm.
I have disciplined myself to say, is it worth saying?
Right.
And I will, and it sometimes it's like, just be quiet and just let it ride, because it's not worth hurting somebody else, because hurt people. That's
Yeah.
one thing we learned in our abusive relationships. The people that hurt us are hurt people themselves.
Mhm.
So why should we, since the person hurt us, why are we gonna hurt the next person next to us? That's like Tara is gonna hurt her current husband because her old ex-husband did it to her. That's not fair to him. Because that's something I had to learn. Not all partners are like your former one.
Right.
Not all of them. Not, they do not have the characteristics. They are totally different. The good thing is, if you tell your partner or spouse, these are my triggers. If you want to test that water, you're
Yeah.
gonna fool around and find out.
Well, and let's talk about the deeper community, because a lot of times, especially this time of year, you have family members who supported him, right? And now
Mhm.
to see them during the holiday dinner, you know, and
Hmm.
know that they're like still playing basketball with him, or on his Facebook commenting or whatever. That makes it hard on the level of forgiveness and dealing with it as well, right, Lauren?
Nah, because my family, when they found out how he really was, how my family is from the hood. So they like, what we need to do, Lauren. That's
Mm.
all they asked. Because they cut him off soon after. And they became that support system, because they like, if you gonna try something with her, you gonna go through us first now.
Yeah, and my family was like that
That's
too,
how they.
but I mean, some families out there are I have
Oh,
seen them clear.
absolutely. And that's triggering themselves, because
Mhm.
it I find it very astonishing. Y'all still believe what this person is saying, and y'all sitting at and this person is sitting at the Thanksgiving table eating your turkey and acting like nothing happened. It's like, no. And then that's where boundaries come in. And I will gladly say this.
Mhm.
Boundaries are not selfish. Boundaries are self-care.
Mhm.
And you can set that boundary and excuse yourself, because you don't have to dwell in that type of environment. You don't have to take that kind of energy, because if they want to dwell with that type of person, let them. Because and guess what? You don't have to be around that. You could celebrate Thanksgiving at your house, okay?
Mhm.
And or celebrate the holidays at your house, because guess what? You got some peace. Because that's one thing that is a one thing when we finally let go and forgive and let this person out of our heads, and they don't control us. They don't
Right.
control our lives, and we got peace.
Mhm.
When I tell you that piece is so expensive and good, it's like Burberry in a spray. Okay? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That is Burberry perfume. That is expensive, and I'm aware it. Okay? I'm not, and you know how much that takes just to get some peace when
Yeah.
you've been in abusive relationships. When we finally, Tara, can you tell us about that peace? Because peace, I love me some peace. I don't know about you.
Well, and forgiveness is about choosing peace. It's not
Mhm.
choosing like the proximity.
Nope.
Yeah, so you don't have to be in proximity of him to give them forgiveness. You don't have to forgive and allow them back in your life, like we talked about before. You know, when they refuse to acknowledge the harm they did, and if your family's refusing to acknowledge the harm they did, then absolutely the forgiveness you're needing to find is not sometimes um y- too many people think you go up and go, oh, please, I forgive you and all of this, because even if you said that, I know if I said that to my abuser, he'd look at me and go like, there's nothing to forgive, I didn't do anything. uh,
Right.
it's not like that, and it's not you being pressured to just move on either, because
No.
I hate that. That is not what it's about either. It's actually more about giving yourself some clarity and clarification and releasing what's in your spirit.
And setting a boundary.
Yes. And it's
Set
hard for people to make those distinctions because
Hmm.
it's such an emotional topic, and you've endured so much with your trauma, and so many of us have PTSD
Yeah.
involved with it as well. So it's definitely challenging for
And
sure.
I will say this next to that, therapy has been my was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because yeah, I learned to forgive, but there was still a lot of aspects of myself that I needed to fix. Cause me trying to figure it out on my own wasn't gonna work.
Mhm,
Yes, and let me make this very clear. Yes, I am a Christian through and through, but I am a Christian that go to therapy. That and I'm okay with that
mhm,
because I knew I had some things I had to there was some other broken places that I needed to heal from that is part of that experience.
mhm,
And I had to be ready to face it. And because of therapy, that's when I discovered I have and that's when my therapist had to tell me I had PTSD and I thought she was crazy.
mhm,
And she said, "No, you got it. It's textbook." I said, "Nah, I'm thinking I may be having a bad day or it's probably hormonal." No. Until I had an episode and I said, "Oh man, this is real." And then of course I have imposter syndrome. That's another. With along with chronic nerve pain.
mhm,
I wouldn't have discovered any of this unless I went to go see the doctor to see what was wrong with me and ask and seek help. And that was something that I was afraid of doing was seeking help. Cause again, I still had embarrassment in my mind. I still had shame. I still had guilt. Cause I'm thinking I was carrying these weights because of, like I said, this person being well known part of the church. That the church was going to look at me badly,
right.
or the people of God was going to look at me very badly. Because again, after that one phone call, that's what I carried. But I learned to forgive myself. I learned to let go. I learned self-reflection in
Mhm,
therapy. I learned what my triggers are
mhm,
and how to handle them now. And those two things have been the best part of my life. And that's why I know forgiveness is a everyday discipline. You wake up with it, you go to sleep with it. That is what forgiveness is. There's no going around it. There's no going over it, under it. You got to go through forgiveness. That's something you have to do.
mhm.
whether it's physical abuse, mental abuse, spiritual abuse, sexual abuse, even financial abuse.
Mhm.
And then your family, they still haven't let go of this person or for the sake of the kids and whatever. When you learn to forgive, you guess what? They no longer have control over you. You're no longer a puppet. You are no longer a robot. Not even AI can control you at that point.
No.
Mhm.
Is there anything else you'd like the audience to know before we wind up this episode?
Well, definitely for sure. For this is new, is again, Tara has mentioned our Survivor Advent Prayer Challenge.
Yes.
And if any of y'all have participated in the prayer challenge during in October, that was amazing. A lot of things had occurred. A lot of people was changed, and I said, let's bring it to the holidays. Let's do an Advent. So Advent is 4 Sundays, of course, if you know about the Advent calendar, and we're already in the first week. And this week is hope, and we want to bring hope for our DV community. And all four is hope, peace, love, and joy. These are the four aspects of Advent that we want our domestic violence victims and survivors to have, to embrace.
Mhm.
And see, that's why forgiveness is so important, because there's hope for a future when you forgive.
Yes.
Forgiveness, let me tell you, forgiveness is there. There's hope for you. When you forgive yourself, you gave yourself hope. That's what you just did. You did for Christmas, when you forgive yourself, you have gifted yourself a hope for your future. And that's what we want. That's what we pray for all domestic violence victims, survivors, and thrivers, because when we were in that state, we didn't have no more hope, did we not? We lost hope. And I'm attest to that. I lost all hope. I didn't think there was a future for me. And guess what? And all the others like me, we thought the same thing. We didn't think there was any hope for us. But we're on the other side now. So this lets you know there is hope. There is peace. There definitely is love there. And
Mhm.
when you find a joy that is just unexplainable, guess what? That's because you have forgave. And when you forgive, all of those falls.
Mhm.
And it's okay. If you tell me, hey Lauren, I haven't gotten there yet, that's okay. We weren't there yet either. We weren't. We're still a work in progress.
Yeah.
Still. But I want y'all to take this prayer challenge and pray for hope.
Yeah.
Next week is going to be peace.
Yes.
Let's
They put
pray for
Yeah, they've put the link into the comments there, so definitely go over there and join it. And Miss Lauren, you're just posting up there daily prayer
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So
Yeah,
like every day for Advent.
so it's like a prayer. So there's going to be a prayer prompt to what you're going to pray for. Then there's going to be a couple of scriptures to go with those. And then after that, there's a worship song. I want y'all to go in with it when you
Mhm.
go into it. It and even if it's for 15 minutes, that's fine. And guess what? That is your time to be still
Mhm.
in the presence of God and pray, not just for your hope, but somebody else's hope too. And guess what? One prayer can change everything. And one thing I read something today on social media, if words is if words are powerful, imagine what a prayer is. How
Amen.
powerful that is.
Yes. Yes.
So I want y'all to take this challenge. There's part 1, part 2, and then during Christmas week from December 21st to 25th, we're going to be praying each day all the way up to Christmas Day. And And guess what? We are praying for our communities. We're praying for our survivors, thrivers, and even the lost ones. We're praying for all of our DV community that we bring hope, love, peace, and joy this holiday season.
Amen. Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, Lauren, so much for being with me today. As we wrap up this conversation, I want to leave you with this: forgiveness is not a requirement, it's not a race, and it's not a measurement of your healing. You don't have to forgive to move forward. You don't have to forgive to reclaim your life, and you don't have to forgive to be whole again. But forgiveness does become a part of your journey. It may be your timeline and your way and your heart, but it's not for your abuser. It's for you. It's not for society. It's not for the people who don't understand. Again, it is for you. Forgiveness, when it happens, is about freedom. That's what it's done for me. It's made me free. And sometimes that freedom begins with forgiving your younger self, the one who survived. And Lauren, we thank you for walking through this topic with me. We have a few reminders before you go. If you or someone you know needs support at BTSADV, our support line is available 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. That is in the link below. If this episode has helped you, please share it. You never know who might need it. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for survivor-led conversations and resources. And don't forget about our BTS ADV online store. Every purchase helps support our mission. Also, we are looking for volunteers currently. So if you would like to join a part of our volunteer team, please apply. We would love to have you join. We're one big happy community here, and we're all remote, so you'll meet lots of other survivors who are helping to do all the things that you see here in the background, from moderate the podcast to create content to answering our support line. So please be sure to join us for that. And don't forget about our Survivor to Survivor episodes every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're about 5 to 10 minutes long. They're questions that have been written in by survivors like you out there, and answered by myself. And if you'd like to drop us a question, email us at podcast@breakthesilencedv.org. And we're going to leave you with a video about our volunteers, and we will see you next Wednesday on Through the Eyes of Survivors Uncensored.
At BTSADV, every survivor deserves to feel seen, supported, and safe. But we can't do this work alone. When you volunteer with BTSADV, you're not just giving your time, you're giving hope. Hope to survivors rebuilding their lives. Hope to children who've lost a parent to domestic violence. Hope to families healing after trauma. We have volunteer opportunities for every skill set. Support line volunteers who answer calls with compassion. Graphics creators who build our educational posts and campaigns. Editors who turn podcasts into powerful short-form videos. Social engagement volunteers who help keep our pages safe. Podcast moderators who guide conversation and protect survivors live. Website editors who help publish survivor stories and resources. And video reel creators who bring awareness to millions. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need special degrees. You just need a willingness to show up with courage and empathy. We train you. We support you. We walk with you every step of the way. If you've ever wanted to make a difference,